G'day people and welcome. Today, thanks to Wendy at the Janome Sewing Centre in Stirling Highway, Nedlands in Western Australia, I'm going to be showing you how to thread a Janome 8004D overlocker or serger. This is the current Janome budget model. It is very representative of many of Janome's overlockers over the years. So if you've got a machine that's 40 years old, the chances are you can see the similarities when I'm threading this one. There are two ways to thread the lower looper. I will show both. I had to do them in a different machine because the 8004D doesn't open wide enough for me to film in there. There'll be some slight variations from machine to machine. Some of them have got a handle that pulls up here. This one actually has a handle that's part of the machine. Fundamentally, pretty sure all the Janomes pretty much use the same colours, so we've got green for the lower looper, red for the upper looper, blue for the right needle and yellow for the left needle. When we open the machine up, there is a diagram here to tell you how to thread it. On the left side, when you open up your machine, and this one does not give you a lot of opening area, some of them give you more. This is for moving your cutter over, and by gosh, you need to work hard to make it move. They probably do tell you to take that down, which would take a little bit of pressure off it, but it's still a very, very hard amount of pressure you have to put on that to move your cutter across. This is the dial for moving the knife. The knob at the back, which is so hard to move, is the one that you have to push over and turn in order to disengage the cutter. The one towards the front is the one that adjusts where the cutter is going to be cutting the fabric. On the right hand side we have stitch length. It's measured in millimetres. On this machine it goes up to 4, sometimes they go up to 5. Somewhere around 1 or 1.5 you're going to find R for rolled hems. I normally sew somewhere close to 3. The thicker the fabric, the larger you need to make that stitch length. This is differential feed. 1 is where you would normally sew with it. It goes down as low as 0.5 and up to 2.5. I don't have this telescope of this machine fully up at the moment because it runs into my cupboards, but generally you sew with it all the way up. You'll notice the machine tells you to use only HA1SP needles, size 11 to 14. HA1SP means ballpoint. That's the kinds of needles that you're intended to use on these machines. When you put a needle into the machine, the groove is at the front, the flat part of the needle is at the back. You push them up as high as they will go. So the left needle should be a little bit higher than the right needle. That is normal, that's how they're supposed to be. As a rule, you don't lift the foot to put your fabric under. The feed dogs are actually close enough at the front that they'll pick up most fabrics. If they're not, then you do have to lift the foot. I would tend to be doing that if I was sewing with polar fleece or something like that. Before I begin threading the machine, I need to unthread it. And I'm going to cut these 4 threads off. The needles are currently in the fully up position. I am going to wind the roller backwards. So in the opposite direction, normally we wind the top forward. I'm going to wind it backwards 2 full stitches. So I'm going from up, down, up, down, up. In doing that, I have de-chained. I have unwound enough of the chain that when I lift the foot now, this should pull out. Can still require a bit of effort tugging on those threads to get them out, but 2 full backwards stitches should do it. So we're now in a position to start threading. I'm going to thread this in the colours that Janome use in their diagrams. When you are taking your thread from the cone up to the top, take it up over the back and through. You don't need to use the second hole up here unless you're using a really wiry thread. In each case, it's just take the thread from the back to the front. The next bar that each of these threads needs to go through, you go down the left one, up and over and down the right one. Do the same for each thread. If you have a look at the threading diagram in the front of your machine, you'll find that the threads are ordered 1, 2, 3, 4, but it starts on the right and works over to the left. That's the order you're supposed to thread it in. If you're having trouble with your machine breaking its lower looper thread about every 3 or 4 inches, check out my video up there which tells you what's going wrong. The green one is the lower looper. I go down the centre and out to the right, and then I come around and up and over that hook. When I've got it around the tension discs, I need to give it a pull to make sure it's properly bedded in there. I'll do it again later, and then over that hook. We're following the green threading, so we've gone through the dial, the tension disc, we're coming down to this guide. We go from right to left and pull it through. The next green one is marked down here. I find it very much easier to thread the machines with tweezers than trying to do things with my fingers. At the moment I've got the needles in the up position. Having gone through that, the next green one is very close to where I've just been. Now is when the instructions start telling you that you can see through white plastic and you can't. So I'm going to show you what you're doing. We're going to open the left cover, and this thread needs to go from the right hand side through and be picked up, and my hand is getting that on the left side and pulling it out. Part of what it's telling me to do down here is to take the thread through the machine. We need to go up through there and into that guide. And that guide, you can pull a thread up from underneath it, it'll go through. You don't actually have to poke it through the hole. First I'm going to show you how to thread this looper without any additional tools. I'm then going to wind till it's about halfway through a stitch. So it's now got its needles down, and at the side here there's a hole in that. Put your thread through that hole. And I'm trying to get it through far enough so that it will be nicely visible when I carry on rolling it forward. As I wind it forward, you can see the thread has come out there. Now I'm going to do that same little bit of getting the thread poked through that little hole and pushing it far enough so that I could see it when it got back to the other side, but I'm going to do it with the looper threader. This is what a looper threader looks like. It's got a white handle, a metal wire, and a hook in the wire at the other end. Make sure if you're getting one, you get one that's got a tight hook in it. If you put it into the looper hole and you can't get it back out, it's pretty useless. We're going to put the end of the looper threader onto the groove that is in the front of the lower looper, and then just run it down and it will go through the hole. If I turn the handle, you should be able to see that the looper threader has come through the hole. You don't need to turn the flywheel so that you can see that the thread has gone through the hole. It will have gone through the hole. All you need to do is hook the thread over the end and pull it back. I need to catch the thread on the hook and pull it back. Once you have your thread back, use your tweezers to go through the eye of the looper, pick it up, take that thread down between the blade and the foot and out to the left. That is the hardest bit to thread on these machines. With the red thread, we go from the centre out to the left, go under the tension dial, come up, make sure you're not caught around a different tension dial, and pull it up. Back over this guide and down from the right to the left on this guide. There is another one that is marked red. We go underneath it and pull up, and here is the hardest bit on the upper looper. And the reason it's hard is not because it's difficult to do, but it's really not obvious what's going on down here. There is a very small wire, and we need to go from under and come out the top of it. We are then in a position to do the eye of the upper looper, which I hope you can see. It's there. I go from front to back, pull it through. Once again, bring the thread down between the foot and the cutter and out to the left. Neither the green nor the red thread go anywhere near the needles in their threading. The loopers are what they do, and they come out here to the left. The right needle is the one that's marked blue. I'm going to go through and make sure that it's properly in there, and then I come under this guide and over the top of this one. Take your thread from the middle of these two guides out to the right, and then we're going under the guide that is just above the needles. Now I'm going to move the needles up. This goes into the right needle. If you have a needle threader, this is the time to use it. If you don't know how to use it, go and watch my video, but I'm just going to thread the needle. Needle thread also goes between the foot and the blade, under and out to the left. Finally, the left needle, we go under and up, make sure that it's fully bedded down over the top, from the centre out to the right. Follow the next guide, and then once again I'm going to use a needle threader on my left needle. Bring the thread down between the foot and the blade and out to the left. So all 4 threads are now out there. I'm going to hold on to them and give each one a tug at the top to make sure that they have been properly bedded down into the tension discs. I'm then going to put the foot down, and whilst holding those threads, I am going to wind the flywheel towards me. Assuming everything is right, I should now start to see some chaining appearing just behind the needles. And when I know that that is working, I can plug my machine in and put my foot down. So I'll turn the machine on and run it. And there's the chain. And that's how you thread Janomi's budget overlockers and sergers. Once again, big thanks to Wendy at the Janomi Sewing Centre in Stirling Highway, Nedlands, and I'll see you next time.